Welcome in, everyone, to lesson 44. Today we are talking about voice leading. All right, voice leading refers to the way that individual voices or notes of the chord move in a series of chords. So a series of chords, we can call that a chord progression. The goal of voice leading is to have each voice move as little as possible in a melodically interesting way from chord to chord. To voice lead a chord progression, first look for the common tone. Common tone is a note found between two successive chords. Keeping common tones in the same voice is referred to as common tone voice leading. Let's begin. Okay, so in our first example here, we're going to look at three chords in our chord progression: a C major, F major, and a B flat major. So these are all in root position because the bass in the bass clef is the root of the chord. But in the treble clef, the first chord that we have, the C major, is in a first inversion, so E, G, C. So in our F major chord, we have F, A, and C, and we're looking what notes, if any, are in common between the C and the F. So we have E, G, C, F, A, C. Okay, so the C will stay in place. And let me just change colors here. And then we want to go to the note that's closest from where we are. So if we look at the G, we can go down to the E or we can go to the A. So same distance. So let's look at the E. The E, we could go to an F, just a half step up, or we'd have to go to the next closest note would be a C, but we already have a C. So we're going to move that E up a half step to an F, and then that forces us to bring the G up to an A. So those two notes went up. Next up, we have our B flat. So we have F, A, C, and the notes that we need in common here are going to be our B flat, D, F. Okay, so what's in common? The F and the F. So let's keep that F in place, and I'll change colors one more time. Okay, so where does the A go? All right, closest there is going up to a B flat. And where does the C go? Closest. C goes to a D. So those two moved up. And we kept one tone in common between each chord. So this is a very smooth way of getting from chord to chord. There's less motion, and it's a whole lot more efficient, and doesn't sound as plunky and kind of stock chords as just playing everything in root position, a C, E, G, then move to a block, F, A, C, then move to a B flat, D, F. So this is a little more connected and kind of ties the whole progression together better. Okay, so let's take another look at this, and we'll voice these chords, same progression, C, F, and B flat, but now in a different inversion. Okay, so we have C, E, and G for our first chord, and we need to go to an F, C, F, and B flat. So what stays in common here? The C, and then the E goes up, and the G goes up. All right, now we're looking at our B flat chord, B flat, D, F. What's in common? The F, so the F stays. The C can go up to a D, and the A can go up to a B flat. And we're doing this by common tones. So we're keeping the common tone consistent between the chords and then adjusting the other chords as small as possible to get to the next chord tone. Next up is going to be similar to the practice example 1 on page 13. So write out the movement for the middle voice from the voice leading examples on page 12, both voice led and not voice led. Okay, so first we're going to do this in a not voice led. Okay, so the middle voice, so F, A, C. So again, all this stuff ties back to, do you know your key signatures? Do you know your scales? How do these things, how do they all relate together? So if you're having trouble with, okay, what is an F major chord? You got to take some steps back and really get that underway. So we have an F, A, C, so the A, and then we have a B flat, D, F. So the D would be, so that could, let's take that up, and then G, B, D. Okay, so not super smooth. Now, let's look at this from a voice leading perspective. So we'll start off with F, A, C. Okay, there's our A. B flat, D, F. What's the closest place? A B flat. So this goes up just a half step. And G, B, D. This goes up to a B natural. And then let's just fill in our other chords, so our other notes. F, A, C. The F stays. That goes up to a D. The D stays. And the F goes up to a G. So common tone, common tone.